cameras are rolling?
2 cameras are rolling.
Yeah.
Alright. Hello and welcome to Hedgehog Hollow and welcome to a bonus Hedgehog Hollow Happy Hour. Plus it's also a double video day, so it's a really good video day.
Loads of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Extra content.
So today is Distress Oxide Spray Day, and I have to say a huge thank you.
Is that like an official calendar day? Is that like a thing?
I think it should be.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Distress Oxide Spray Day.
Yes.
Awesome.
So, this is kind of an impromptu video because I was sitting here, Greg was setting up for the Distress Oxide Spray technique video. Oh my god. And I was playing around. I was making a project, just making sure that all my mediums worked and I knew what I was doing. And this is like, do you know what? I really kind of fancy playing with that. So instead, I finished a project, and then, which is this project here.
They can't see, it's too far away.
So I finished that project, and instead we said, well, we'll do a bonus Hedgehog Hollow Happy Hour. Now that is not at all my standard style of crafting, but I said, well, let's do it, and we can talk all about the new Distress Oxide Sprays. And I have to say a huge thank you to Tim for sending them to me, because I have enjoyed playing them with them. Hannah and I have had a lot of fun. We actually used them in our creativation class, and we made tags. This was the tag brought to you by Greg's long arm.
Too far away. Brought to you by Greg's long arm. Is that going to be a new thing now? Brought to you by Greg's long arm. The ability to reach forward towards the camera and show you things.
So we got to play with Spruce, and I think it was Vintage Photo was in the class.
Yeah.
So that was what we made in the class with Tim. And I used some of the techniques in the one I'm going to make. There's also one that Hannah made behind us. That's her one at the back there. Hers is more brown. Mine's more vintage. Mine's more ice spruce. Hers is more vintage photo-y. But we actually started with the same supplies, and you can see they ended up really different. So I think that's kind of cool. And in the first video that I launched today, I did show these in that video as well.
This one is Hannah's and this one is Alex's. Both the same stuff, but very different.
Did you get those the wrong way round?
No. This one is Alex and this one is Hannah.
Okay.
Hannah did the gentleman.
No, I did the gentleman.
I mean, Alex did the gentleman. One's Alex's and one's Hannah's.
Anyway,
and these are on hardboard, aren't they? Or
yeah,
what do
they're
they call
called
it in America?
etc. So this is
this is like a solid
it's called
piece of wood.
thick board. Like
thick board, there you go.
Thick board, etc. I did show a stamp. I do have a Stampers Anonymous haul video that I've done. I'm not sure if it'll be live by the time this video goes live. I mean, we film things out of order.
We just film things when we feel like it. When we try and, like, if you're in the mood to craft and stuff, and we.
Well, it also depends when Greg's home as well, as to whether I can film things.
It's currently a Sunday.
Yeah.
So when's this likely to go out?
Monday, Tuesday. So I don't think the Stampers. I think probably tomorrow the Stampers Anonymous video will come out, which will show you all the different sizes, etc. We'll work it out. We'll make sure the links are there for you. Don't worry. So things kind of get filmed out of order, but that's filming videos.
That's show business.
No. This is us filming videos.
Yeah, this is just us being a bit of a mess.
Yes. So so we're going to work with etc. tags, and we're going to work with Distress Oxide Sprays, and I'm going to work completely out of my comfort zone. I even put my fingers in it. So my fingers are messy.
That's not you.
That's not me. Normally I wear gloves. It was really funny when I did the class with Tim, because we were sitting at the front, and he watched my face like drain of colour when he said, "Now you put your fingers in." And he just kept laughing at me, and he was like, "You put your finger in, put your finger in," and he kept watching me. So I had like the peer pressure, and he's like, "You're not putting those gloves on. I saw your video. You're not putting those gloves on." And I was like, "Oh."
You even had the special pink rubber gloves.
Hannah had even found surgical pink gloves for me to wear in class, and he's like, "You're not wearing them." I was like, "Oh, okay." Fine.
You got timmed.
I did get timmed, so so I guess I just had to embrace.
All right, so should we crack on? So these are Distress
Oxide
and these
sprays.
are brand new.
Brand new. Like brand new. They came out last week.
So here's a few of them.
There are 12 colours to start with. Ranger said they will do more if we buy them.
Buy them. They're really cool.
We want more. We want all 60 colours.
There's loads of colours. Well, there's how many
12 colours now.
12 colours at the moment.
But there are 60 Distress colours in total. So I guess if all goes to plan, we'll get 12 colours in every release like we did with Distress Oxides.
And these separate, don't they? Like.
Well, so Distress Oxides are I've used most of them. So there's one. are a pigment and dye fusion. So like when you use your Distress Oxide re-inkers, the pigment settles in the bottom and the dye raises to the top. So like an oil and water kind of separation. They have a silver ball inside. So when you use them, you want to shake them up. Now, Tim will tell you shouldn't do what Greg just did.
Well, only because it can fly off and make a mess.
So, the official word, and I'm going to give you the proper instructions and then I'll tell you why I do what I do, is you should either be very gentle and shake it around and around like this.
Which takes forever.
Or you should grab a piece of kitchen towel. Let's give them the proper instructions and then I'll tell them my shortcuts. Because I should give you the right instructions from the manufacturer first. Take a piece of kitchen roll, shake it up and down, because just because of the way they're manufactured, you can get leakage out of here. However, I have so far not had any leakage. I should say that. I haven't had any problem. But I have been keeping the plastic lids on, and all I do is shake like that, because if I did get something spray out, it's going to be inside this plastic lid. Which has happened on this one? No, that's just from when I sprayed it afterwards.
Oh, so you just made that mess yourself?
Yeah, I made that mess. Okay. I can't blame the oxide at all. So I haven't had it happen at all, and I've used them quite a lot, really.
I think basically, when you shake them, keep your finger on top so the little plastic bit doesn't fly off across the room. And as long as you do that, you can just give it the beans and it's not going to go anyway. Just give it the beans, translate to American.
I'm not sure, but I think they'll get it. So I think we're good. So that's the Distress Oxide Sprays. Now these are not Distress Oxide reinkers that have been watered down, because then you wouldn't get the oxide reaction. These are not Distress Oxide Sprays, Distress Oxide inks that have been concentrated at. These are a unique formulation that are oxides in a spray that when you spray them down, they go down like an oxide pad has gone down, and then you can oxidize it, which is how we're going to get some really cool effects like this. So the cool thing about oxides is the pigment dye fusion. It's not a hybrid ink. It's very different to a hybrid ink. And the other thing is you can use it on dark surfaces as well as light surfaces. You can combine oxide sprays with distress spray stains. So a distress spray stain is like this. It doesn't have any of the pigment in it. This is like your regular distress ink pad.
So that's just ink in a spray. It's not an oxide.
This is regular distress ink.
Are we going to spray both on 2 bits of paper and show them the...
No, I did that in the first video.
Oh, so that's a thanks Hannah moment.
Top right hand corner. Thanks, Hannah. So this
Hedgehog Hollow Happy Hour, brought to you by Thanks Hannah and Greg's Long Arms.
So distress spray stain is your regular distress ink in a spray bottle. So like we're going to have the oxide spray stains, we have distress spray stains. You'll notice there's no separation because there's no pigment in the bottom. But again, it's a spray formulation of that ink. So you can mix the two together in the same way you're going to mix that. You also get metallic versions of it that have your mixative in the bottom with the metallic. And you have mica versions that have your mica metallic in them as well.
What's the difference between mica and metallic?
These are more translucent, these are more opaque. So the mica are translucent and they've just got like a mica.
So if you sprayed some of that over something, you kind of see through it, but it still gives that shimmer.
Yeah, so it's going to give you a pewter or bronze shimmer.
Okay, whereas if you spray that over something, you don't see through it, it just gives you a flat colour with metallic.
Yeah, it's a little bit translucent, but this is more opaque.
Okay.
So that's that. So we're going to use that. I also have a range of the distress mediums on my desk, so we should quickly run through those as well.
Are these brought to them by Greg's Long Arms again?
Yes.
Yes, right. These are brought to you by Greg's Long Arms. What are these?
These are distress mediums. So you can get these either in a 3-pack of the minis.
I don't know why I'm bothering to go through all the trouble of holding this up all at once. Look at that. There you go.
So you can get a 3-pack of the minis, or
are these the 3 that actually come together? We've actually put the pack. Hey, look at that. We're all organised and everything.
Or you can get them in a large size like that.
Okay, so these are exactly the same, just big ones.
Well, that's not, but the other one is.
The other one is. That one. What's that one?
That's the Collage Medium Matte. So Collage Mediums make good adhesives, which is what we're going to use it for today. But they also work really well as sealants. And you have a matte, you have a vintage, which is tinted. Oh, it's sniffing stuff again.
I don't know what it is. I opened something up, I want to smell it.
What are those things?
It smells like wallpaper paste.
Mm-hmm. And then the other one is Crazing, which is crackle based. So you can use it.
So they're all ways where they dry, and they dry to like a different texture.
Yes, so you've got
grit
matte.
paste just...
Hang on, we'll get to grit paste. These are just glazes, basically. So you can use these as adhesives or you can use them as a glaze. And so we have a matte, and they're all, this one is tinted vintage, so it's like a tea dye. And then this one is crazing, so it's clear, but it cracks as it goes.
We've got something around somewhere where you did some crackle.
Yeah, but that's this crackle stuff. This is texture paste crackle. And I did it here. And I did it on here. We're going to do texture paste crackle.
So up there, I'm not sure you'll be able to see it. You should just about. Here, this section has like a really crackly texture. And so you just put that paste on and then you heat it with a heat gun. Or do you just let it dry?
Either. But when we get to it, I'll explain how you get different sizes of cracks and stuff.
So it gives a,
so we're going to use
it gives a really nice kind of aged, old look.
So we're going to use that in our project.
Cool.
And then you have grit paste, which is exactly as it sounds. It's like a texture paste, but it has grit in it. So
and you can see that actually when you look into it.
Yeah, it's sandy.
It looks
sandy.
I don't think you'll see it if you just look white, but if
and that's
from
what
us
this
looking
is.
at that, you can kind of see that it's.
And I've added glitter to my grit paste to add sparkle, which is what we're going to do.
Oh, so you can mix stuff together. So here at the bottom, that bit. Oops, let me get my fingers right. Down here, that's the grit paste, and it's got a sparkle to it.
A light sparkle.
It's really weird, and it feels
gritty.
Sort of like sandpaper.
So you've got that.
And you've added glitter to it.
I've added glitter to it, and you'll also notice it's got colour. It's not white.
So you've taken the grit paste, and you can add both an ink and a glitter.
Yes.
And then you change it from white to whatever colour you want, and you've added the sparkling.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
it's really like a base. It is a base, and then you add whatever you want.
All of these things are. I mean, like the crackle paste, we can add stuff to it. So this video is really going to be about like.
Do you add an oxide, or do you add one of those other inks?
Either.
Oh, right, okay.
So this piece that we're going to create, yes, we can create a pretty project, but it's all going to be really about trying different techniques, trying different things. And I'm just going to show you loads of different stuff. We're going to put it all on one project so you can have like a sampler project. And of course, when we get to Inktoberfest in October, we'll be having a Distress Oxide Spray Day. So we'll have an extra day to throw into Inktoberfest.
October?
Yeah.
It's February, dear.
I know, but I love Inktoberfest. That was really fun last year.
Yeah, of course you've got the whole summer before then, but yeah, okay, October.
Well, people liked Inktoberfest.
It was awesome. I'm just saying it's a long way away.
And then you can also get collage medium in a bottle like this, so you can use it like adhesive. So they know how many of us use it like adhesive. So they put it into a bottle like this. I also have my splatter brush in case we want to add splatters.
Oh, so that was you literally just put some stuff in it and flick it about.
Yeah.
So it's literally a mess maker.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. Mess maker.
And then we have our new Nuvo spatulas.
Right.
Which are silicone, so they're really nice to work with. And we have our Distress collage brush, which is, I've been using it, and it's great because I can just pop it in a baby wipe and it keeps it moist, so we don't have to keep washing it.
Okay.
But it has a hollow core, and I'll show you when we start using it why it's so cool, because it has a hollow core. And you can get these in different sizes depending on what project you're working on.
Okay.
So, also I thought I would mention you don't have to work on thick board with Distress Oxide sprays.
No, you can use just about any paper you want, actually.
You want to use something heavyweight. So Ranger have a variety of papers, so I picked out some of my favourites and some that I use at home. So there's things like the heavyweight, what do they call this? Mixed media heavy stock that comes in tags.
So
and it comes
similar, but not quite the same as watercolour paper.
It's thicker. It's thinner than watercolour paper, but it's thicker than cardstock. Like, a normal
cardstock. So this is, I don't know, it's like very thick cardstock, but not water. Yeah.
Yes, it's in between.
And also, watercolor paper tends to have a texture.
This is smooth.
This is smooth.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you can buy it in card front size, or you can buy it in tags. They do a Distress watercolor cardstock, or you can use.
Oh, so that is watercolor paper.
That's the Distress version. I use the tonic one. Because it comes in a pad that I like. I also like Arches. I mean, it's all personal preference. I really like this. This is Ranger. It's called wood grain cardstock.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's really fun to work with because you can highlight
stuff with it. I'm
going to give the camera
a really hard time focusing on this. But I'm not sure. I don't know if you can see that. It actually has a wood grain.
But that's what I used here where I stamped So Proud of You. You see I highlighted it a little bit.
Proud of me.
I made it for Maddie actually. So Maddie made merit roll at school.
Yeah.
And so I did So Proud of You because I thought I'd give it to her. So... But you see how I highlighted it with some ink?
Oh, so you took this and just put ink around the edge with a pad?
And it highlighted where the wood grain was.
Okay. So again, not sure if you can see that, but across the centre there, this the sentiment is on the wood grain. You might just about see the wood grain. I'm not sure, but it's very cool. It's a nice texture.
Just little texture.
Bit of added detail.
Yeah. You can also use oxides on the alcohol ink cardstock, not UPO. So this is a glossy cardstock. Glossy cardstock, if you didn't know, is actually really, really porous. And you can get some fun techniques. That will be another video that's coming up. And we're going to have some real fun with that. And you'll be really surprised how this behaves with oxides. Because most people think, oh, I can use alcohol ink and it's non-porous. It's not. It's actually really, really porous. So that will be a video.
Are we going to do a special paper video?
That's actually going to be a next weekend video of oxides with glossy cardstock, and I think you'll be really surprised what you can do with it. And then something else I picked up. This is artist paper. It's black artist paper. Now a lot of black cardstock won't stand up to things like oxide sprays and things like that, but this is artist paper. It's not actually that thick, but you'll be surprised how well this stands up to things like oxide sprays and things like that because it's an artist grade.
So what does artist grade mean? It's better quality somehow, but it's not thick. It's like
it's reasonably thin, but it actually stands up to this kind of stuff really well because of the quality. So again, thanks Hannah. Links are in the description for you. No, that way this time.
In the description.
Yeah.
Not in the top left, top right hand
So
corner.
I'll link this particular one up for you because this does work really well with your oxide sprays, and of course because it's black, oxide sprays are going to show up on it really nicely on your black. But we're going to work on etc. tags today, and this is the number 8. So
that's a 16-minute introduction. Are we now going to actually get up? You dropped it on the floor, didn't you?
No, I didn't hear it drop, which means it's on my apron. There it is.
Fine.
So you actually get 5 of these in your pack. Yeah, but I know it's a long introduction, but I think it's important. Because
really
I
cool.
was reading in the Tim Holtz addicts groups, a lot of people feel overwhelmed by the amount of Distress products, and there are a huge amount of products, because I don't even have them all out here. There's some on the shelf, and there's some stood in the drawer. Like, there's stains, and there's crackles, and there's rock candy, and there's like, there's so many products.
Inks, and there's pads, and there's everything.
So, yes, there are a lot of products, so I think it's important to explain what they all do. And, you know, we're only touching the surface. So, you need to assemble your splat box.
Splat box.
Splat box. So, splat boxes are awesome. If you watch the Hedgehog Hollow regularly, you'll know how much I adore my splat box.
I just like that Alex likes something that keeps things tidy for once. Because everything else Alex likes just makes a mess.
Other way. There you go.
Oh yeah, it makes so much sense that way round. That's helpful, because the other way was just like a big flappy half box thing.
Would you like some help, darling?
No, I'm stubborn, I will work it out. Oh, there we go.
There you are.
And then you fold that. Hey, see, I told you.
So the great thing about splat boxes is they're also really easy to fold down again. They go completely flat, and I just slot them into my Expedit that are now called Kallax units at IKEA.
And it's just like a sawn off corner of a box, essentially.
Yeah, but it's nice because they fold down. You can also kind of stand your tag up like this if you want to spray and get the nice drip techniques. You can lay them down. I don't know. I just like them. I like the fact they fold flat too.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
So when I was working on this first tag, I did learn a couple of things. You can spray directly onto the etc. surface if you want to. They are porous, so you can spray directly on. However, I found you did get a better result if you had something on the bottom. So the first thing we're going to do is squeeze out some...
so am I making one like next to you? Are we doing this together?
We're going to do it... Yeah, you're going to make one too. Okay. These are the only kind of non-holiday collage papers I have.
Okay.
So you can pick either one of these to use as your base. Which one do you prefer?
Brought to you by Greg's Long Arms. These are collage papers. Well, they can't see.
Okay, I know. We'll do that too.
And these give you like this cool texture that you've done on these,
yes.
right? So on here, all over here, you can see it's got like patterns in the background. All of that is all done by this collage paper, which we're about to use. Which is like tissue paper with stuff printed all over it, basically, isn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
So what do? Just take some, tear it off, wrap it around, stick it on.
Yes, you want to...
You have to be a bit more technical about it.
Yeah.
Right. Do I cut off like a bit more so it wraps up?
So I'm going to put mine on like this and then... So just tear off enough that you've got enough to just go like that. Yeah, just tear. No, the idea is you tear. Tim says tear. Okay. So what you need to do is squeeze on some multi-matte medium.
So this is adhesive?
This is adhesive. And then we're just going to brush it out.
And you do, is there any particular reason you did a big blob rather than smear it around? Or?
Because we're going to brush it out to get a nice thin coat. You really don't need much.
Okay.
And then with mine, I'm going to put enough to cover over this corner.
And you smear it like all over the board, every corner?
Yep.
How quickly does this dry? Kind of
a few minutes. We've got a few minutes to work with.
I don't think I've put much on.
You're fine.
And do you put that back in the baby wipe?
You put that back in the baby wipe, but what I'm going to do is I just tore off bits and I'm just covering
Okay, so you really are doing it as a collage.
Yeah.
And of course tearing it gives you
kind of rough edges.
Rough edges and kind of an interesting...
Yeah.
And the other thing I'm guessing is you don't really want to stick it on perfectly flat either.
I mean, we're going to add
layers.
layers.
Up a little bit.
We're going to add layers of it.
Oh, I see. I need the brush. Okay.
So just kind of... And so you can see the brush holds quite a lot of adhesive too. You don't want to really try to get too much on top because it's going to seal in. And then you're going to struggle to get your Distress Oxides on top.
Okay.
And don't worry about making too neat of an edge or anything around the edge yet either.
So I want slightly different patterns. I've got a lot of...
You can also use this one. You can mix and match.
Oh, but that's got colour in it.
Well, I did that one here, but you see how like the bird just kind of shines through on the edge there? I mean, I do have other ones that are Christmassy ones, but...
Yeah. There's a brush thing gone.
You took it, sir. So the reason that this is really nice to have the hollow brush, and I'll do it on this other camera.
Alright.
Yeah.
I think this stuff dries quite quickly.
It does, which is nice because you can just keep moving with your project too.
Do you have to cover the whole board?
No. I mean, with this, with the first one, I left a lot of gaps.
Yeah.
But this one I've decided I'm going to do an all over because I like the effect. But this avoids a lot of waste because of that hollow centre. I can wipe all that excess back into my
okay.
piece.
What do you do with like the bits flapping off the edge? You tear them off or roll them over?
You can tear them off,
or?
but what I wish I'd picked up was a little bit of sandpaper, which is what we used in class.
Sandpaper?
Yeah, because if you take sandpaper around the edge, we got a really nice finish to the edge of our board here. And that's what we used, but I forgot to pick some up out your toolbox.
Go and get some if needed.
The other thing you can do is just slightly moisten your finger on this, and then just rub it, and it rubs really nicely because of how thin it is.
Cool. So all I've done there is stick a bunch of stuff on, basically, in a very higgledy-piggledy kind of manner, so there's no neatness to anything. And I'm just going to... You finished with the brush?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Do you need it?
Not desperate. I'm just going to stick the edges and wrap them around and try and...
Neaten it up.
Neaten it up, despite having just said there is no neatness. So you're putting layer on top of layer?
Yeah.
I haven't done so much of that. You hear Teddy playing in the background.
Yeah. I don't know what they're doing.
No idea. We'll clear up that mess afterwards.
And so what I'm doing is I put a little bit of glue onto my glass mat just off to the side, and then I pick it up and put it onto my project that way. Yep. And the other thing you can do is like this, I really like this nest on here, so I'm just tearing around the edge of my nest because I really want to include that somewhere. Don't really know where. I'm going to pop it on somewhere. Now just bear in mind you also have a hole at the top here, but we can also use our craft pick to put that back in later if you need to. Remember to pick up a craft knife. No, not these used my scissors.
Yeah. Alright.
And so the reason I wrap my
you put way more on yours than I put on mine.
Well, you can build up the layers. So something I'll show you that I did with mine, which I am going to do with this as well, is I added more layers in a minute once we've added the first layer of oxide.
Oh, when we start spraying stuff on.
Yeah, so we'll do that too. So as I say, this is more like a sampler project. And what I do is I just take my brush and I wrap it in a baby wipe. And you can keep it in here for a good few hours while you're working on projects. And then I'm going to, you can just take a piece of sandpaper.
Oh, I see. So you're using that to kind of trim off. I've wrapped mine round and torn it a little bit, but you're... okay.
You can do all sorts of things. I wrapped it on this one. If you look at the back of that one, I wrapped.
Oh, yeah.
You can do that technique. You can wet your finger, and then you'll find it tears a lot easier.
Yeah.
I mean, there's lots and lots of different techniques. It's whatever you want. The piece of sandpaper is the best one.
Mind you, that works pretty well. Exactly the same kind of thing, just...
And if you wet it first, it'll be even easier. We can always tidy it up at the end too. So that's mine.
Very cool.
There we go.
So this is my effort so far in putting the stuff around, and this is Alex's. Alright. So next
step is to
next
put
thing
our
is to actually
first
start
colour of oxides.
Okay.
And this is just your first colour. This is not, you know, this is not intense.
Alright.
Part two.
So we're going to start doing the exciting stuff.
Yes. So put your tag in your splat box.
Okay.
And I suggest you probably pick 3 to 4 colours to put.
Right. Now, how do you choose colours? Because when we were doing this the other day with the gel press, every colour I picked, you were like, no, that's going to make mud. No, that's not going to work. So there's something about colour theory.
Okay.
What's that?
Colour theory is about making mud. So, for instance...
That sounds like a pretty lame theory. And colour theory is all about making mud. No, I think it means
not
about not making mud.
I don't know if my... Here it is. So I have a colour wheel, because it took me a while to learn colour theory.
Mm-hmm.
So it's about... So this tells you complementary colours. So if you used blue...
So blue, yellow and like pink go together.
Yes. So...
Okay.
You know, if you're going to use blue, you could use yellow, you can use green, because blue and yellow make green, so they go together nicely. But if you mix blue and red, you get purple, so they always work together nicely too. Okay. So there's kind of stuff like that too.
So I'm going to go with, based on that, so I want blue, yellow and green.
But with Distress Oxides, the fun thing is, if you dry between your layers, the layers don't mix. So colours that would normally make mud, you can layer on top of each other and you won't get mud as long as you dry between your layers.
Yeah,
so that's a really fun thing you can do with Distress Oxides. Like normally I wouldn't go with pink and orange because I'd get mud. But if I put pink down, dried it and then put orange,
you get pink and you get orange. Oh, so you can choose whether you want to blend them or not. If you do want to blend them, you just go spray, spray. If you don't want to blend them, you go spray, dry it off, and then spray again.
Yes.
Ah, top tip right there.
Yes. So that's why I really like working with oxides, because you can do some really fun stuff with them. So, what do you want to do? You pick first, and then I'll pick out what's left.
I have no idea. I'm going to go with this one because it's nearest and it's not pink. What colour is this?
It's red. Fired brick.
Fired brick. So you need to give it a good shake first.
Yeah.
Keep your finger on the end, otherwise you make a mess. Except you don't, but do that anyway. Alright.
I always pick the same colours.
Sorry?
I always pick the same colours.
Well, you pick the girly colours and I pick the manly colours.
Yeah, but I feel like I should, switch
mix it up a bit. Maybe we should pick each other's colours.
Not sure about that.
Is there any way of telling when you've mixed it enough? Is it?
So basically, as long as you have a nice,
don't have residue at the bottom.
colour.
Yeah.
I haven't got any that are non-mixed anymore. So you see how that is not consistent?
Yeah, so it's light at the bottom and dark at the top.
Yeah, once it's consistent, you know you're good.
Any spray techniques I need to be aware of, or do I just go at it?
Just go at it. You want to stay, about that far away.
I don't know how much, just so you can see. I'm going to do a couple of prep pumps. Okay.
I do have one that doesn't have a metal ball in it, just because I think these were prototypes.
So I'll just put it in light. Do you have to do anything, like spray them upside down afterwards, or you just leave them?
Nope.
Okay.
Just leave them.
So I'll just put a bit of red on top. And then, what other colour was I going to go with? So if I've gone with red, do I want to go with, I don't know, green?
Then you'd want to dry in between. Well, actually, if you kept it to this end, you'd be fine.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So is this...
it's your peel paint there.
Paint. These separate pretty quickly, didn't we? We shook all of these up before we started the video so that we wouldn't have to do this, and now we need to do it again anyway.
I'm going for reds and oranges, which is not my normal colour scheme.
You do need a fair bit of shaking.
A little bit of shadowing going on. Okay, so I'm going to give it a bit of a dry, and then I'm going to put some green in it too.
Oh.
And I'm drying with the Ranger Heat It tool as opposed to my embossing tool.
So that really was some green. Where's my red gone? Is this
Here,
red?
I know,
Okay,
you're
my red.
Okay. So I'm drying with the Ranger Heat It tool as opposed to my embossing heat tool. And the reason I do that is this is just as high a temperature, but it's not going to move my ink around. And so what that means is if you're working with watercolors or sprays or any of those things, if you use your embossing heat tool, it's going to dry it, but it's going to move all your color around. So if you've just got that perfect placement, sometimes you've just put something down and it's, you've got a really nice spiral in it, or you've got something just right, and you put your embossing heat tool on it and then you're like, oh, it just moved it. Well, this doesn't do that because it has a lower airflow. So you're still going to dry it, and it's going to dry it just as fast, but...
I think it kind of depends what you want, doesn't it? That dries it without moving it, but the other tool does move it. Sometimes you do want it to move, because sometimes you blow on it with a straw and things to get like swirly effects.
And this will do your heat embossing, but it takes way longer than
Yours looks like brown, and mine's really vibrant.
That's because I chose different colours.
Okay.
But when you dry it, you'll find that some of that vibrancy will go down because it's going to absorb some of that dye.
Cool. Have a go. Will it reach?
Yeah, I'll just hang on. Yeah, it's the cable. I'm going to do some of that pill paint. I've never used pill paint.
I want to do some of that crackly stuff.
We're going to do that too.
So you do that afterwards? Oh, and you're saying you mix it with colours as well?
There's some other...
You can.
Again, I'm going to give you some options, some tips. I mean, this is the thing with mixed media, and I never used to do mixed media.
Is it me that's got you into it?
It's you and Hannah.
Oh, okay. So I love the idea. I think it's fun.
Ooh, that's pretty. Look, I just put a splash of blue in.
Oh, very nice. I think I need a bit more as well because I've gone...
And again, it is all about building up layers and doing stuff.
It takes quite a while to dry, doesn't it?
It doesn't have to be completely bone dry, that's the other thing.
Okay.
So I'm going to dry this layer.
So yeah, it's now it's dried. It's gone a lot more sort of powdery.
That's the oxide.
And that's the oxide chalky kind of effect as it's come out like that.
And we haven't oxidized it yet. This is just putting the ink on and drying it. Then we're going to oxidize it.
I'm going to put pink in. Have you used the pink?
Not yet. Well, I did earlier, but not in this.
Right, a very pinky bit in the corner. And that's going to go slightly red. Then, where's the green that I was using? Are you using it too?
Paint's over here.
Yeah.
Could you pass me a bit of kitchen towel, please?
And I'm going to have some yellow as well.
It's fossilized amber.
Fossilized amber.
So I really like the effect I've got, so I'm just going to stop. That's the other thing, is knowing when to stop. There is a point you'll get to and you'll be like, oh, I really like that. Stop. I'm really good at being like, oh, just a spritz more there. Just a dab more there. Stop. Okay.
You got a rough bit of cardstock that you don't mind losing?
Oh, I had those bits we showed earlier. Just use one of those.
Or prints of paper or anything cheap. Okay.
What you doing?
I'm going to use it as like a guard, like this, and get like a hard line. Just because, you know, why not?
I mean, of course, you can spray through a stencil. Oh, that's cool. You can. Look at you going all creative.
Yeah. See, I know what I'm doing, having never done this before in my life. Okay. Oh, I need the dry thing. You can use a stencil, couldn't you, as well?
That's what I was about to say. You can spray through a stencil. We're going to ink through a stencil just for like an extra technique. But you could most definitely ink through a stencil too. And for those of you who pointed out, I'm really trying hard not to say as well. I'm really trying hard not to say it as well. I know Hannah said, if I had that as a drinking game, I don't think I'd get past 2 minutes of the video before I'd be like on the floor.
Is it possible to burn it? Like if I held this here for... Is it ever going to happen, realistically?
Yes, and actually this one won't burn as quickly as the Wagner heat tool that I use.
Oh, that's a really, really hot one.
And that's because of the airflow.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, dear, I worked that out. I'm an engineer. Thank you, dear.
A bit more red. Just red?
Yes, fire brick is red. It's pretty too. So I am going to use, just to speed this up, I'm going to use the other heat tool to dry mine.
Oh, are you queuing up?
But it's fine. I'm just going to be a little bit more, and mine's fairly dry, so I don't have to worry about it moving around.
So if we start doing this more together, we're going to need 2 of these, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, his and hers heat tools. Or does one of us just get the hairdryer out of the bathroom?
No, it's not the same thing. Okay, hairdryer, not the same thing.
But the other thing, if you're on a budget, you could just wait. You couldn't you?
Oh yeah. I mean, heat embossing, you need a heat tool. But there is nothing else other than heat embossing.
Well, yeah, heat embossing, because you actually need to melt that like powder plastic stuff.
But there's nothing else that you need these tools for. You know, everything
it's literally
else.
Just to save you time.
Everything else can be just done through waiting if you're on a budget. Literally the only thing is your heat embossing. Oh. And if I was going to buy one tool, I'd buy the Wagner if you were on a budget.
Looks quite cool. Multiple colours in there. It's almost like a sunset.
Yeah, I really like the pink at the top and the lilac. It looks very Victorian-y. Very, what's that show called?
Burn
that people
some of this
like?
just to actually, like, I wonder if you could burnish edges and put.
Well,
like
we're going to do the crackle and then add the vintage in. So we've still got a lot of techniques to add in.
So I'm pretty happy with mine.
Well,
How's yours looking?
We're going to oxidize.
Oh, yours is really cool. Oh, we're oxidizing now.
So we're going to now oxidize. So I'm going to turn this back and we're going to do the close-up so I can show people how.
Do we still need the Bernie tools?
We do need the burning tools.
Okay.
So to oxidize, all you need is a water sprayer. This is my preference. They do a Distress water sprayer too. I mean, again, it's just a personal preference thing. And what you're going to do is spritz it water. And what you'll notice is it reactivates.
So it brings that colour back.
But when I dry it, I'm going to get oxidized kind of droplets and things. So I'm going to have big oxidize, I'm going to have small oxidize. I'm not oxidizing all of it. I have dry bits and I have wet bits.
Rather than doing bits of it, I think I'm going to do that through a stencil.
You can do that.
Can I borrow a stencil?
Here, I mean, I have a
They're
gazillion stencils. They're smaller ones. So all Tim Holtz stencils come in big size and they come in small size. The other thing you can do that's a kind of neat idea is you can spray your water through a stencil and then pick it up with kitchen towel, and you're going to take back a layer of ink and display what's underneath. And so you're going to oxidize and pull back some ink and you'll get a really cool effect.
Need 3 arms to get them off of there.
So that might look really cool on there.
Sorry, what? I wasn't listening. What
So
are you on about?
put your stencil down wherever you're going to use it.
Yeah, basically all over.
And then spritz it with water.
Okay.
And then put a piece of kitchen towel over the top while the stencil's still there and pick up a layer of ink.
Okay, so that's going to make more of an impression.
And that's going to make more of an impression.
Okay,
and it's
so you'll see the stencil a bit clearer.
Yes.
So I'm going to get my piece of kitchen roll ready.
Yep.
I need my water spray. Here's a top tip. Anytime you're using any kind of spray, and I've got my thing in here, just spray into the corner of the splat box just to get a feel for, like, does it come out really fast, really low, you know, just so you know what you're doing.
Or, you know, just over there somewhere. That's what I do.
Well, don't just spray into mid-air.
That's what I do.
So what's this? This is just a water spray?
Yes, just water.
Okay. So I'll just pop that down with my stencil.
I'm going to use this one just because it goes in the box easier.
So that's reactivated, hopefully only where the stencil is. Now I'm going to put this down. And you can actually see the ink coming up through the stencil into the paper there.
Yeah. So what you're doing is just lifting a layer of ink up. So if you put multiple colours down, you're going to see the colour that was underneath the oxide.
Ah, I see.
So now you've got a really interesting texture.
So you can see that in... So I need to dry it a little bit.
So whereas with mine, you can see, like, particularly here, you see on my bird, I got some really nice oxidized thing.
Okay.
And up here I got some nice oxidized.
You might want to show them rather than me.
Yeah, well, it needs to be brought by Greg's long arms, doesn't it?
Oh, here, you dry my thing.
Okay, we'll swap.
Just hold that there, dry that thing.
I'll just bring it over here, it's easier.
So you can, this is on Alex's, on the bird in that corner. You can probably just about see there's like water droplets kind of thing going on. It just adds, it's just a little bit of interest again, isn't it? It's just more...
But the thing is, this is just a background. By the time we're finished with all our layers, you're not going to see all of this. It just adds some interest to our background.
Nice. I think that's a nice thing about working on these boards, is you can put as much ink and anything and glue and everything in, because it's quite a tough, solid piece of wood. It's not going to go all floppy and soggy and fall apart.
No, and the fun thing for us is these are laser cut by Stampers Anonymous, who are based about 20 miles down the road from us. So it's always fun because we're like, oh, it's kind of local.
Yeah, he's quite local.
Yeah. And Ted's fun too.
He is, he's a laugh.
There you go. So you're dry too.
Yep.
Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our crackle paste.
So this is my one, and particularly in the pink, areas, you can just about see some texture there, some like outline from the stencil that I used. Let's give it a bit more going on. I think I'm going to go for the sunset kind of thing. It's like red sky at night. You see, you've got the red sky fading into like the looking across a lake or something.
I really like how you've got the bird right in the middle.
So you got so it's kind of like a bird sat there in like a sunset kind of thing. That's my theme. I designed that. That's totally deliberate.
I know.
Planned that from the outset.
I know you did it. Totally planned.
I'm sticking to it. It's my story. Yeah. I'm sticking to it.
I know.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Okay.
Right, what do I do now?
So now we're going to do crackle paste. And you can work with these or you can work with a traditional spatula depending on your preference. And I'm sure you have a very strong opinion on your preference.
Can you use your finger?
If you want.
No, let's use my finger.
Okay. So some things about crackle texture paste. It, the thicker it is, the bigger the cracks, the thinner it is, the finer the cracks. And if you leave it to dry naturally, you will get different cracking to if you accelerate the cracks with a heat tool. And the other thing is, if you seal it first, so if I put some Distress collage medium over it, it would not pick up any of the colour that I've put down with my Distress Oxides. Now, it is going to pick up the colour because I'm not sealing this. This is how I managed to get all of these beautiful colours in here. That's how it picked up that colour because I hadn't sealed it. And the wetter, if I'd have left my oxides pretty wet, it would pick up even more colour because it's water-based.
But ours are dry.
Yeah, but this is water-based.
Oh, so that's going to pick up some colour out of here, but only a bit. Yeah,
whereas if I sealed it, it would stay white and it wouldn't pick up any colour.
So could I use some inks and mix colour into that?
Yes, you can do that too.
I think that's what I'm going to do. Okay. I'm going to make it brown.
But you can also rub in colour afterwards, which is what I did with this.
Oh, okay. So now I don't know if I want to make that brown or rub brown on it.
I would rub brown on it because I think that looks best, personally. Right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick my spatula in. And I like these new Nuvo spatulas. And I'm doing it so you can see it on the close-up camera. And I'm just taking it on the edge. I'm just kind of dragging it down. I'm kind of doing it like icing. And I'm trying to pick up some areas. And I'm not doing it everywhere.
You said the thicker it is, the bigger the cracks?
Yes.
Okay. Alright. So let's have a go at this as well. See, unlike you, I don't like getting my fingers dirty.
I also like the control a spatula gives me. But you see how it's picking up the colour because it's water-based? As I say, if you didn't want it to pick up your colour, all you have to do is just put down a layer of collage medium. But just remember that's going to seal in your project. Like so. And you could also put down the crazing collage medium, so you could have like double cracks going on. Like so. These are just so easy to clean up too.
So it's picked up, and it's basically made of green.
Yeah, at the top it's picking up the pink.
Okay.
You can see in mine it's picked out the oranges, bits of green.
Yeah.
And I'm going to accelerate my drying process because we're doing a video in particular.
So the accelerated drying, what's that do? Make it crack more?
It makes it different cracks. If you left it to dry naturally, you'll find you get different cracks. I'm also incredibly impatient, as you all know. So I never actually managed to leave it to dry on its own.
Okay.
I kind of fail miserably on that count. So I'm just drying mine off. Now if you don't like what you've got, you can sand it off, You can wipe it off before it dries, of course. You could put more Distress inks over the top. Yes, please. You know, there's plenty of ways you can...
These mats are really good.
Oh, I love my mats.
Because the mess, there's like a lot of stuff going on and bits of paper and gluey, inky stuff all over the table, but it all just cleans off of these really quickly.
Yeah.
So yours looks really different to mine. You've got a lot more browns and rich, nice reds going on in yours. Mine's more, I don't know, different. This is what mine looks like at the moment with that stuff. What's it called?
Opaque crackle paste.
Opaque crackle paste in those sort of corners, and you can see where it's spread out. So now I'm going to dry it.
I'm just going to neaten up my edge a little bit.
So what's this going to do? Because I've got some really harsh edges on here at the moment. Whereas yours, as I dry this, is it going to...
No, it's going to stay how that. You'd want to deal with that before you dry it if you want to get rid of that.
Oh, well, I'm a bit late now.
Or you can always add more.
Oh, that's true.
And fade it out. But we're also going to fade, you know, rub inks and stuff into it still, so you can fade it out in other ways.
As this is drying, you can, I can see it, can you see the cracks starting to show through?
You're not going to get as many cracks if you dry it with a heat gun as if you let it dry naturally. I think it's that way, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's that way around.
I'm getting loads of cracks.
Because you put it on really thick. I did quite a thin coat. Need our next bit. Where's my other crayon gone? Did I put it back? Oh no, it's here.
It's fun. As you do this, you can literally see the cracks forming in it, and they're giving you that texture.
I'll put my finger in it, Greg.
Ooh.
I'm proud.
First time for everything. Okay. So here's another thing you can do is once you put the crackle on, you can brush some bits of it off.
Yeah.
So like here, I'm just rubbing it a bit, and you can see all the lovely crackles of crackle paste are just falling into my coffee that's right down here.
It's probably my coffee, actually.
It is actually your coffee,
yeah,
but
great.
I thought I'd be nice.
You're going to make me another cup of coffee?
I think I'm going to end up doing that, yeah.
So it's really good fun because you can just keep layering and adding stuff. I really like this. Look, I added another layer on top and it's just picked out some of the yellow.
You have a craft pick or something?
Yeah, right there. There is a craft scratcher from Tim, from Tonic. Yeah. When you reset the camera in a second, you can grab it. Here we go. Okay, we're ready for the next stage.
Yeah, I'm just trying to soften mine down a bit, kind of beat it up, make it look kind of old. Cool, right, yeah. So that's the colour and the crackly stuff on top. And now what do we do? Next.
Next.
Alright.
So we're on the home straight.
Oh, yours is lovely.
You want to show them?
Yeah. This is Alex's. That's really cool. We've like it's almost got like a border around the centre, which is nice.
Thank you, dear.
And my one, I'm still trying to go for a kind of red sky at night, kind of morningy, woodlandy sort of view.
So then we're going to add Distress Crayon into our crackles. Look, it's mixed media, it's messy.
Yeah, I know, I just don't like it.
And so I don't store my Distress Crayons in the Distress Crayon tin.
Carry on.
I store them in an alcohol ink storage tin because I can fit all the Distress Crayons. I have all of the different colours, and I can fit, it's very off-putting, I can fit them all in one alcohol ink storage tin. So there's my top tip for storage, and I'll open it over here so you can see it. So you can see here, look, these are all the different colours. I also have a window in the other end so I can see what's down there. Plus down here, I can see all of the different colours. Do you know what colour you would like to rub into your crackles, Greg?
I want to brown off this yellow. It's kind of yellow, so what do I add to yellow to get to brown? Brown. If you want to make brown, add brown.
Walnut stain or vintage photo would be
no
best
idea.
bet.
I'll give it a go with both these. So these are crayons, so they're literally
these
like
are
waxy type thing?
No, they're water reactive crayons.
So just smear it on, rub it with your finger?
Smear it on like this. Then moisten your finger slightly. And this is a squeaky clean dispenser from Brutus Monroe, which is perfect for this.
You can use that, I'll just lick it.
Okay. And then what you'll do, you'll see it just kind of dissolves it a little bit. It means you can rub it in nicely. And I'm using a metallic one. And I'm just going to add a little bit of the darker in some areas.
Okay.
You happy?
Yeah, I'm going to leave that up there, and I've just browned off. So where I did have those two patches at the bottom, which were quite a strongish yellow, I just browned them off a little bit. So I think I'm kind of going for those being kind of like trees or bushes or something like that, as this sort of woodland look, feel to it.
Okay. Now I'm going to do some ink blending on mine, just to add some extra texture in. I think I'm going to choose some Blueprint Sketch.
So what are you doing?
So I'm going to take a little stencil, like this, and I'm going to grab an ink blendy tool.
No, she's just going to chuck some blue into there.
Just,
I might do that.
I mean, I've grabbed a few different colours. You can grab something else. What I'm doing, just adding, I think I might take a little bit of mustard seed as well. I really am losing my voice now.
All that talking.
All that talking. If you saw my tonic live last week, you'll notice that I've had the flu for a few days, and I think it's now affecting my voice. Greg is going to be very pleased that I'm losing my voice. Aren't you, dear?
No, that would be mean of me.
That is so true.
A little bit.
So what it does is it just adds a little bit more. It's just another layer. It's another texture. You can see on there.
I'm running out of fingers.
This is where we use ink blending tools. I mean, yes, you can use fingers. But
I've noticed how we have a very different attitude to getting our fingers dirty. I just get straight in there.
I can imagine that Hannah is watching this doing the links, laughing her head off at us. Okay. So the final thing I did on this before I started adding my big elements was I stamped on here. So behind us we have all of my Tim Holtz stamps. So I suggest we'd pause and you can rifle through and choose some stamps.
Alright, so we're going to go and pick out some stamps out of the big collection.
Yes.
And then just add some stuff.
Yeah, so on this one it was just, I chose the big floral because that's my favourite.
Okay.
But you can see it just kind of like picked out some elements that look nice.
Okay. So what ones are you going for?
Well, I got my big flower again because I really
Oh,
like
using
that.
the big flower. I found my fish.
I might go medium
The Tim Holtz
marky.
fishy thing.
I like the medium marks. I might have those.
I'm thinking, do you think some of these would look nice, like in the top corner, up here somewhere?
Maybe.
But then I've
Well,
already
I've
got
got
a little bit of
leaves.
detail. I'm gonna go with that little one down there.
I've got big patterns.
There we go. Do you want to take these out so it's easier to put them back?
And Hannah will know what sets you need there.
Okay. Let's take that out.
I like the bugs. I don't usually use bugs. It's kind of outside of my usual, but I quite like it.
Got some bugs in there?
Maybe. I'm not decided yet, but we'll see.
You decided?
Kind of.
Okay.
Alright.
I'm going to put go on that one.
Yeah.
That one's going. Okay.
Alright.
Alright, so I've got a fish and a little flower. And I'm going to half stamp this up. Oh, we need
I have ink blocks.
ink blocks. Thank you.
And we're going to use the new Archival Distress Inks.
I need a little one really. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay.
And I suggest use the black.
Yeah.
Although what I did do on my one here, which worked out really well, it's just a bit different, was I did the outline in black and then I faded into purple and blue, which is how I got that shadow stamp.
Okay.
But, I mean, you can do it however you want, obviously, but just throwing out some other ideas. Because I always have to try new things. And I don't really know what I want to do yet, so I'm just going to...
Oh, there we go. That came out nicely.
Oh, yeah.
So I've just put a bit of a fish in there.
So this... So for those of you who watch me a lot, know I love this stamp from Tim. This was the first one, Glorious Bouquet, I think it's called, and then they did...
Can we edit that bit out?
No. Then they did Glorious Tidings for Christmas, and there's a new one coming on February 18th. Don't worry, I pre-ordered it. And we'll link that up so that you can get an in-stock notification on it as well. It's absolutely beautiful. It has a big, what's it called? Big petunia in the middle of it. Absolutely beautiful. And they're designed that you just use a little bit of them. I've used it with alcohol lifting. I've used it with all sorts of things. And you just use kind of a segment of it. So I'm going to use a little bit of it on there. And then I'm going to go in with this entomology stamp set. Now, entomology really isn't the kind of thing I would normally use.
How do I clean this? Just run these?
Yeah, I'm going to use Archival Cleaner afterwards, so just put it to the side. It's fine. So I'm going to use... Well, maybe I'm not going to use this Glorious Bouquet, because I used Glorious Bouquet on the other one. So scrap that. I'm not going to use Glorious Bouquet. I use Glorious Bouquet on this one, and it is gorgeous. And in that top right-hand corner, you will see... You're going to do that. You'll see the link to the video that I did using alcohol lifting, using that stamp set. But I'm going to use these new Media Marks stamp sets that you can see here. And these are fab. And I love Tim's idea because he says there are people like him and me who can't do squiggles, but there are people who can draw beautiful squiggles like this. And then there are people like us who can then just stamp them onto our artwork. So I'm going to use these. There's also a mini version of this, which I think might be better for this size of a project. So I'm going to use maybe this one.
So I've just stamped on the like two parts of the fish down here and up here the kind of flower, just adding a little bit more kind of detail going on. I'm going to pick out another
Something.
or maybe not.
You could try these medium marks, but there's like leaves and stuff in them too. Oh, the ladybird. I'll use the ladybird. Maybe the bee.
Yeah, let's have this big one. Any technique to getting these out, or do you really just tear them out?
You really just tear them out. The idea of having those are for the smaller stamps, so you know what you've got, what you haven't got, and that they stay somewhere in the right place. So I'm going to use these mini media marks. really sure. I need a craft pick. I need to know where my hole's going to be.
Oh, this is good because it's only like an outline. It's not going to have.
Yeah. Okay. I have no idea what I'm doing, Greg.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I know how to stamp, obviously, but I have no project plan whatsoever,
Oh, there we go.
which is not like me at all.
Alright. So I've just added on this side here another sort of plant outline. So I'm still going, I've kind of moved from woodland to kind of sea. So my idea is that this bird in the middle there is kind of sat next to a sea, and it's like, I don't know, sunrise or sunset or something. See, I've got a plan. I know what mine is.
Oh, good. I don't.
I've got some vague kind of image. Much yours is really nice. Oh, I like the bugs.
I've never used these bugs. I bought them because I kind of liked them, and I was like,
Oh, you're a ladybird.
I know. I'm all about the ladybirds.
So. Spotty.
I know. I'm all about the spots.
Very cool. I like mine. It's coming together a bit now. It's fun.
I think we've overrun on our happy hour.
Yeah, this is going to be a happy hour and a bit.
But we have given you a lot of tips and techniques, I think. Hopefully, if you were feeling overwhelmed by the amount of distress products, you now have an idea of...
So what do we do after this?
We're going to add some embellishments.
What are they?
Like these bits.
Oh, like 3D sticky outy stuff.
We've still got this bit to do at the bottom.
Okay.
So, you need to finish up whatever you want to
I'm
stamp.
good. I've done my stamping now. I'm happy with mine. Just waiting for you.
Have we got a dirty stamp pile somewhere?
Yeah, over here. Is there any particular way you put them like back to back or top to top?
No, just put them on the bottom of your splat box.
Alright,
Or
I'll
just
tell you
use
what.
the bottom
So
of your
have you got
splat
all of
box.
your clean, like the things you use? So if we keep those together. Running out of room. Put them over there. And then I can put my dirty stamps in my splat box. Are you finished with these?
Yeah.
Put those in there as well.
I'm not done with those.
You... Oh, that's cool. It's like a script.
Yeah, it's out of an entomology journal.
Entomology?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Back when journals were handwritten. Remember that? I would have a slurp of coffee, but it's got like residue in it now.
Whose fault's that?
Well,
There you go. I'm done. There's the lid. You've got the lid. Okay. So that one's done. That one I didn't use. So I can go back over there. Okay.
alright.
Yep.
Should we show them yours?
Yep.
So you've got much more texture and stuff in yours. Alex's is a bit busier. Lovely colours. And you've got like the bugs all up the one side.
Yeah, so I did half the bugs just up the one side. So I should mention, so we use the Archival Distress Ink. So these are new. They're in the overview video that Hannah linked up earlier. And we'll also put a link in the video description below. But they're 4 packs. They're in the Distress colours. So you have the neutrals, you've got your warms, and you've got your cools. They go in the Distress Archival tin. They're only releasing them in minis, but their RE ink is also available. So that's what we were using because you can stamp on non-porous surfaces. So where we'd use crackle paste and we'd had sealants on bits of it and things. So we can stamp on all those things. That's going to dry absolutely fine and it's not going to move or react or any of those things. Hence we use that. So the next thing we want to do is our little bit of grip paste. You want to choose a small stencil that you like.
Okay.
So pick... Ooh, ow, that's got hot glue on it. That hurt.
Oh, your glue gun's leaking a little bit.
No, it was touching right up against the nozzle.
Okay.
And while you're picking that, I'm going to grab out some embellishments.
Oh, stars. I'm going to go with a star.
you're going stars, you have star embellishment.
Yeah, that'll work. Okay. So I'm going to put some stars in this top left-hand corner. And what are we going to use for that? One of those pasty things.
The grit paste.
Grit paste. This one.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe the other time I've used my finger, so this time
No, you
I
are
might
going to use this.
Oh, because if you put your finger in there, does it ruin it?
No, you just want a thin, nice, even, thin coat.
Okay.
Imagine it's icing.
Oh yeah, because I know so well how to do icing.
Yeah.
What use is that?
I was trying to be helpful.
So you don't need too much of this?
No.
That much?
Plenty.
That a lot? Okay, let's put that in.
I wish I had a butterfly stencil.
I think we have a
Hi,
butterfly
Tilly.
one.
We'll be done in a minute. If you go and watch TV, we'll be done in a minute. Tilly's come to investigate what we're doing.
Hi. Do you want your thing? There's still plenty on there. There might be enough for you as well.
Yeah.
So this time I actually want a clean stencil image. Yeah, there we go. How do we clean this? Do you wipe it quickly or do you just leave it for later for me to deal with?
Yeah, later for you to deal with tends to be good.
I'll just leave it in there then. Yeah.
So Tilly's investigating my Distress blenders. If you're wondering what she just picked off the edge of the table. I don't know if you can see that one.
Yeah. So I've just put some stars there in the top corner.
Right, now before that dries, you're going to grab my splat box, which I'm going to grab for you in a second. Tilly, can you pass me that splat box?
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Pop your tag inside of there.
Mummy.
Put the lid back on.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then you want to take your glitter duster and you're just going to spray it on because you want it to still be wet.
Ah, okay.
And it's just going to stick a little bit of glitter onto it as well. Oh, don't press that. Oh, Tilly. Thank you.
What's that?
Yeah, we don't press that. That's the remote for the camera.
Okay.
So
let's just put glitter on.
yeah, Tilly's in here too. Okay. Do you want to go with Maddie?
So let's just put some glitter on my stars.
Do you want to do the same on my little grids?
Do you want me to do that for you?
Yes, please.
Okie dokie.
This is happening here.
Alright.
There we go. Alright.
Okay.
Right, we can leave that to dry just for a couple of minutes because otherwise we will probably squish that.
So if we let those to dry and perhaps tidy up a little bit.
Yep, and
then
then we
we'll
can
come
add
back
our
and we'll do like the finishing embellishments.
Yep.
Alright.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right, so we've cleared down. We've got some embellishments out. So we're going to add
Clear down or clear up?
I don't know. Clear
I
down.
always clear up.
I clear down.
Okay.
Well, maybe we meet in the middle.
Well, you clear it.
Well,
Never mind.
I clear down and you clear up, so we meet in the middle.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Anyway.
So now we're putting embellishments on, like pretty twiddly bits.
Yes.
Okie doke.
So I found you some stars.
Move over.
I'm up against the chest of drawers. I can't go any further.
Yeah.
And then I found you this one that says Fisher. That was close.
Okay.
But then I just found that one that said Allentown, which is where I used to live.
I'll use a fisher.
Okay. Well, I tried. That's as close as I can get. I didn't have fish. Most of what I've got is the Christmas and Halloween stuff.
Okay.
And the new stuff's not out yet. And then I found... I'm going to use these sentiments. Did you choose a sentiment?
No.
Oh.
Haven't done that yet. Was I supposed to have done that in the break?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was busy making lunch for the girls.
How sensible of you.
I was trying to work out how to get into the thing.
So I'm going to use the leaf set, which is Nature's Wonder. And I'm going, go where you feel most alive. And I'm going to stamp it on that wood grain cardstock.
How'd you get into this? There's like plastic double sealed everything.
And I'm going to stamp it with... I'm going to use that DIY distress pad. I made. And if you want to know about DIY distress pads, stay tuned. We have a video coming up very soon on how to make DIY distress pads. If I made all these videos live today, Greg would tell me off for using up all the videos we filmed this weekend.
Yes.
So
You need to like...
So these will all go live this week. Maybe we'll just have a distress week. Maybe that's it. Maybe it's Tim Holtz week here at Hedgehog Hollow.
Oh, could be.
Because we'll have this, and then tomorrow we're going to have all about new alcohol pearls. And then the next day we can have all about making your own Distress Oxide pads. And then last week we had all of his new Sizzix stuff.
Where's my hole?
And then you need to remake your hole with the other way. Go from the front to the back. And then the next day we'll have... Okay, so this is this week's schedule. Today is Monday, and we have...
It's Sunday.
No, when they're watching it's Monday.
Oh, so you decided to put this up tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay.
So today is Monday, and you have Distress Oxide Sprays. Tomorrow it will be Tuesday, and you'll have the new Alcohol Pearls video. That's another double video day. And then you'll have Wednesday, you'll have how to make your own DIY oxide pads. And then on...
Have we made any of these videos yet?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then on Thursday, you're going to have the new Stampers Anonymous release. And then you'll have Friday, you'll have Hedgehog Hollow Happy Hour, which will be part 2 of the gel press. In between, you'll also have the Tonic Live. And then next weekend, you'll have a new 2-minute tip as well. So that's going to be the schedule for this week. And hopefully Hannah just wrote that down so we don't forget when to upload
Almost like you're organised.
No,
Right, so what do? Do I just glue these on?
Well, you also want to pick a sentiment.
Oh, yeah. Out of what?
The stamp set's behind you. Or you could pick one from the nature sentiment that I just used.
Can you pick me one?
Do you want to do the same as me?
I don't know, have a fishing good time.
Well, where's the fish stamp set?
I don't know. They were over here, weren't they? These are the ones that we used.
Oh, that's got no sentiment.
Yeah, it's got no sentiment on it.
Well, this one had some really nice ones. Why don't you pick one off there? Never lose your sense of wonder.
Yeah, okay.
What colour do you want to stamp it in?
No idea.
I've got the custom green pad I made.
Oh, the ombre.
Ombre. And so I'm stamping it on some wood grain cardstock. And I really think you should use the closer up lens too. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I mean, it's only my opinion.
You could use a closer up lens. I mean, you could, do
You're
that
in
one.
charge of videography.
Right, so I'm going to whack this down there underneath my birdie.
You want to stamp,
do something.
do you not want to stamp it
yeah,
on white?
I
so
want it on
pops out?
white, but I kind of want that white to be brown or something.
Yeah, but well, do you want to...
Yeah, I want to
Yep.
colour it up somehow. So
mustard
if I
seed?
use those two together, and I'm going to layer it a bit as well. I definitely want the wood grain in there. So how do I change the colour of this?
You just take a blending tool, a little bit of ink.
Oh, you do it after you've put the
Well, I am,
sentiment on.
but it depends what you want to do.
Okay, so I want the black sentiment and the black archival. Thank you.
I don't know if I want to stick mine yet, and I undid the sticky, so I'll stick it together. And then, while he's doing that, I'm going to colour my butterfly. So
I'll use your
these,
sense of wonder. Right, so that's good. So I'm done with that now.
yeah.
Doing that.
I thought you were going to stamp it in my custom ink in green. It's fine.
Oh, right. Now I need to cut this up. Snips, please.
So I'm going to colour my butterfly using alcohol inks, and that's how I did it on the sample that's disappeared. Here we go. So this is what I did on this one. And so this is new alcohol pearls. And so you can colour any metal embellishment with alcohol pearls. And so I'm going to grab a couple of colours. I'm probably going to add a splash of pink in. I'm going to start out with some blue.
Have you got your edge distressy thing?
I do have my edge distressy thing. But I have to move your way so I can't open the drawer.
Got like everything in the world in there.
This is my like man drawer.
Man drawer. Yeah, very manly. he says, just in a pinny while doing crafting.
So you can use regular alcohol inks or you can use the pearls. I am addicted to pearls at the minute, so that's what I'm using. You can, again, use a tool or you can just droplet some in like I'm doing. And I just love how this looks. And I like the idea of customizing my embellishments too, which is what I'm doing. So I'm just adding drops. I used Tranquil, I used Enchanted, and now I'm using Envy. I love the names too.
They are really awesome names, actually, aren't they? Oh, well. Oh, so it's gone all colourful.
Yeah.
And you can do that on top of the metal?
Yeah, because it's a non-porous surface.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just...
So what make brown?
Well, I mean, you could use vintage photo if you want to get it out. But
yeah.
Do you really want brown?
Well, I don't have to have brown. I just want it to be like woody.
Yes, dear.
Thank you.
Well, vintage photo's already out.
Out where?
Here.
Was it gone on holiday? Oh, thanks.
Here.
Thank you.
Yes, dear.
Can I just sort of wipe this on? Blotch it? Or what do I do?
So you want to do over here first.
Okay.
And then like that.
Oh, that's quite cool.
I like those ones. They're the new Nuvo ones. I'm in the process of moving from Ranger to Nuvo ones. I like them. And this is just press and seal that I'm working on. And the reason I work on that, Greg likes, because there's no clear up. Makes no mess.
Oh, I like no clear up.
And so you can just kind of drop in colour here and there. It just looks a little bit distressy and grungy. I'm going to go back to a bit of Tranquil. That's flashable. Oh, that's nice. And if you don't like what you get, just throw down some blending solution. You can wipe it all off and start again. Yeah.
That's quite cool.
You can also...
This is what I was going for. It's a kind of wood grain.
You could also take some Distress crayon and you could rub it into the wood grains and it'd be even more woody-y.
Distress crayon? Oh, they're the things we were using earlier.
Or you could use spray and you could oxidize. I mean, you could do all sorts of things if you wanted to.
This your yellow.
Yeah. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some antique bronze Distress crayon. Make sure this is reasonably dry, which it is. And I'm going to take just a little bit of crayon.
Have you got a green? Oh, that green oxide over there. Has it got a thing under it?
Over here.
Thank you.
And I'm just taking some crayon and I'm rubbing it into just some of the butterfly. And this effect in a minute will be brought to you by Greg's long arm. I'm taking a little bit of water because the water is not going to rub off the alcohol ink. It's not going to react. It's just going to rub off some of the Distress crayon that I'm putting on. The Distress crayon is going to go into the grooves of the butterfly. Do you see there how I've got...
That's really cool.
Could that be bought by Greg's long arm? Thank you.
So have you got the original?
No, it was just plain
so
silver.
it started off as just plain silver. And now it's got really lovely butterfly-like colour on there and a nice sheen too. That's way better than mine. Mine's just like a dull bit of wood type thing.
Well, you haven't done your star yet.
Oh no, I haven't done the star yet. Oh, that's true. Right, so I need something like raised-y up-did. Where's that foamy stuff? What's the foamy stuff? I'm blind. Okay.
Here, I'll trim a bit because I've got some room over here. Hang on, you've got to trim down the middle.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Not bad for an assistant, are you?
You're so funny. So the other thing I did was I used the film strip ribbon, which is a little bit wild. Be warned when you start using it. I'm surprised Greg has not had a snarky remark at that.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What?
I guess it's a little bit wild when you start using it.
Suits you then.
Yeah, I knew it. It comes in this cute little tin too, but I made a bow out of it, and last time I stapled it, but I didn't really like how that came out. So this time I'm going to do it slightly different.
There we go. Just stuck my sentiment on there, raised up in the middle. So it kind of looks like the bird that's just above it is sort of sat on there, and that's sort of like a log. And then you've got the sea kind of under it, and the sunrise or sunset kind of on top of it. This is really coming together nicely. Yeah. I'm pleased with this.
So this is really where it starts to come together, because everything you've done up to now is just a background. So I'm just taking my glue gun, and I'm trying not to burn myself.
So how do you colour these?
Alcohol inks. So just pop it on the press and seal.
And then just squirt
Pick
stuff.
a colour and then just dot some on. You'll need to give it a good shake because I've not used them today.
Oh, they're shaky ones.
Yeah, because they're the pearls.
I see what Tim Holt says about your crafting area gets steadily smaller and smaller and smaller as your project goes on, because all the stuff
But the one
kind of
thing
fills
about
up.
Using the glass mat is your craft area doesn't get as small as it used to.
Okay.
Well, I find it doesn't anyway. Ah. So I'm just putting some dobs of glue. I'm trying not to make too much of a mess. I'm just kind of concertinaing this film strip ribbon backwards and forwards.
So I just pour this on?
Yeah, just like, that's it. And one thing I found with the alcohol pearls, and you'll see it in the video tomorrow, is that when you use the felt, it doesn't work as well, I find. You don't get as much shimmer and kind of dance and fun stuff as when you just...
These look amazing.
Yeah. Just go for it.
The kind of vibratingness.
Dance, they call it.
Dance, okay. Have you got a red?
Yes.
Okay. So if we were organised, we'd appreciate it.
Well, we did, but we ended up interviewing a nanny in the interim.
Yeah, we should point out, the previous bit to this was filmed about an hour and a half ago. Quite a lot of time has passed, but not that it affects the video.
So I'm going to stick that down like that. Now you could use collage stuff to glue it down, but I find you have to sit and hold it too long. So I like using a glue gun, and I'm using the AdTech glue gun. Check that top right hand corner if you want to know what this AdTech glue gun is all about. It's supposed to be a no drip, it's not no string, but it's 80 to 90% less string, and it does do less strings.
You forgot the thanks, Hannah.
Thanks, Hannah.
Oh.
And the reason I use a glue gun is because it dries quickly. And as an impatient crafter, I'm all about drying quickly.
This hasn't quite gone to plan.
Oh, why?
Well, I was trying to get yellow in the middle and like a red on the outside and kind of blend into yellow, but these don't have quite the precision.
It also means that I can put a ton of glue on the back because I don't want this to fall off. And I can get some lift and things to my butterfly.
How do these dry?
Just evaporation. But you can use the heat tool to speed it along if you want.
Do they dry quickly?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll just leave it. And what about this? I want like a brushed, aged look.
I would use a Distress crayon and just rub it in.
Rub it in with my finger.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I really like those metallic Distress crayons. I think they add a little bit of pop. You see how much I love these flat boxes too?
Yeah.
Now I know this is a bit of a longer video, but hopefully we've also given you tons of tips.
Bit of a longer video.
Yeah, but I think we've given a lot of tips in this video.
It's been a lot of fun.
It has too. Have you enjoyed it?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great fun. Okay, so that's gone like bronzy.
Why is that not stuck? Oh, I need more glue.
Are these going to ever dry?
Yeah.
The waxy.
Yeah.
Do you have some more colours of the Distress crayons? Yeah, thank you.
Looks like that'll be a yes
Now,
then.
where am I supposed to put this? Oh, I got it on my glasses.
You numpty. It's my thread. I want my thread. Don't throw my thread away.
Oh. If you want to know how to clean up your area quickly, just dump it all on your wife's side.
No, don't. Wife gets right cranky. He's like, yeah, and
Yeah.
okay, so thread. I used to really struggle with how do I make my thread look like everyone else's. Everyone's always looks so pretty, but I'm perfect.
Not that way.
Other way.
Yeah, it didn't go so well either. Okay.
So what I do is wrap it around 2 fingers, and then I just plonk it down like that, and I stick something on top. And that seems to work really well. And then I'm just going to stick this on top. Mine's done.
Are you finished?
Yeah.
Oh, you can help me out.
Can I? I'm just going to move that to the side slightly. I'm actually going to put a little bit of glue gun on the back just because that's not going to stick otherwise. So I guess I better be sure that that's where it's going because it's never going to move. Ah.
Very nice. Oh, isn't it nice?
Isn't it nice?
I like your butterfly. It's a really good move. So how is this ever going to set?
It just dries.
Does it?
Well, it'll dry. Tim says it dries.
Mm.
We did it in class and he said it dries. So if it doesn't dry, I'm going to blame him. Don't tell him I said that. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this twine out the top.
I don't really want that. That's antique.
Oh, we haven't done our doodaddy for
like
the
an
top.
actual brown.
Oh.
Yeah, I've left a bit of space for it.
No, I need a splat box.
Walnut stain. That's interesting. Oh yeah, you can use my splat box.
Tom actually. Yeah. I didn't really need it thrown at me, but okay. What colours did I want to pick out? I think I'm going to go... I'm struggling, honey. I'm going peeled paint.
Think these are dry yet?
Don't know, touch it. No.
Okay.
That's what Tim says. It's like, if you touch it and it's dry, it's dry.
Yeah, but I want to know if it's dry before I touched it. Yeah, you carry on. Right, so now I want to string this on, but how? Oh, and you glue the string at the back, don't you? So we're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to ask you to do that.
I don't know what I'm doing, but okay. It's dry.
Is it dry?
It's dry.
How do you know?
Looks dry.
It's wet though.
It's fine.
I just got some transfer onto me.
Right. So what I've done here, I'm going to turn this so you can see, is I've sprayed some peeled paint onto it. And I'm going to put a second layer on, and while it's still wet, so I have to work reasonably quickly. So I'm going to use my glitter duster. I didn't really talk too much about this glitter duster earlier. So this is a dry spray. It's got some Tim Holtz rock candy in it, which is his glitter. And as the ink dries, my glitter is going to dry in with it. I wasn't sure this was going to work when I did my prototype, but it did work really well.
How do I glue my stars on?
Glue gun.
Is the glue gun hot?
Yeah, it's very hot. Would you like me to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Can't I just use some sort of easy to use adhesive?
Yeah, it takes ages to dry.
Okay. Otherwise I can see me having globules all over the place.
Globules.
Why don't I have a big globule on it like I'm a, you know.
Okay, we have to wait a minute.
Okay.
And then what I did, which I really liked, was I took a metallic distress crayon and I just kind of added a little bit around the edge and I rubbed it in with my finger. Like this. And it just looked a bit distressy. Distressy obviously being a real word.
It is a real word, you just inventionized it.
See? I knew I loved you for a reason. He's like, well, it makes a change. And if you have anywhere your glitter didn't stick, just take some collage medium, like that. And I'm sticking my finger in, Greg.
Are you?
Yeah.
Good on you.
And
Are you moaning about it?
No. And you can stick it in again. And you can add even more glitter. And what this does is it sprays just a fine mist of glitter. And you can add as little or as much as you'd like. And I love it. And the thing is, if you put this in one of those like little sauce cups you get at Five Guys, and add alcohol ink to this. And yes, the guy at Five Guys does let me take some home. You can also buy them at Dollar Tree if you want. But you pop that in there and stir it with an ice cream stick or ice cream spoons. And I have gazillions of them now because I had to buy a pack of pink ones and I got like 200.
You had to buy the pink one.
I had to buy the pink ones. Stir them with any colour of alcohol ink. You can make your own custom colours of glitter. So now all I do is buy white glitter and just make my own colours.
Right. Are you finished?
Nearly, but I'll do yours.
Oh, so I've got to do my thing as well.
Yeah, you got to do your thing too.
I don't know what to do with that.
Well, you do that while I stick this on.
Okay.
I'm sticking your stars on, yes?
Yeah. There's two.
Yeah?
Hang on, well this one's going to... Let me put that one there.
Hang on, lift it up.
I can't now.
There?
Yeah, that'll do. String. And then the little fella, I don't know, there. I need my Distress Sprays.
What colour?
What colours did I use on that?
Red
and
green.
Green. Let's have a red and green.
Fabric peeled paint.
There we go.
And then I'm going to stick it on the tag. Oh, so somebody asked us about the last Hedgehog Hollow Happy Hour. Why we don't pronounce the H on adhesive, although I made you pronounce the H in Higgins. So that's totally an American thing. British do not say H in adhesive. We don't say H in vehicle. We don't say H in...
Adhesive, vehicle.
No, what else they say it in. Yeah, it's not me like, nitpicking thing. We just... It's a British thing. We don't say the H. So that was the answer to your question. I'm trying to think if there are any other questions. Right, how do you want this on there?
I want it tied on round the bottom to just the right side underneath the sentiment.
How do you want it tied on?
I don't know. With like a fisherman-y type of style.
Because
that should have gone up a bit. That's right.
How many times have I been fishing, dearest?
I'm not a fishy person.
You've been fishing. I remember you going fishing.
Really?
Yes.
Did I like it?
No. You blew me off on a date to go fishing and then texted me and went, oh, this is really boring.
God.
I should have gone out with you.
Boringest thing I've ever done in my life. Can you stick stuff to the thing? Did you make yours all sparkly?
Yeah.
Where's your sparkly maker thing? It's over there. Thank you.
I ended up... if your ink is really wet, you can do it, or you can just dab a bit of that on with your finger. Because you need some kind of adhesive.
I'm just going to spray some more ink.
But I do recommend that works a little bit better.
Okay.
So do you want a bow and then me to stick the bow on, or you want it tied around like this?
Oh, I quite like that. To the right a bit. But could you, like, pass it around and then loop it through so you get a bit more of a...
Yes, boss.
Thank you. I want to make sure it's done right. Alright, so I'm just trying to put some of this glue, which won't come out. Oh, there's a lot of it. So I just put the glue on and spread it a bit.
Yeah.
And then spray my glitter on.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have made that rich blue. It could have been like the moon.
There isn't a blueprint sketch though. There's Mermaid Lagoon. Or there's Faded Jeans. You can spray on top of it.
I'll have this one. Thank you.
I'll take this one and then you take both.
Yep. These really do take a lot of shaking, don't they? Oh, that looks nice.
Is that what you wanted?
Yep.
It's not, is it? But
Yeah,
you
it.
quite like it.
That's it.
Was it right?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
wow.
going to move it just a touch to the left, but that's fine.
Wait, you can just...
No. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Rule of thirds. I'm doing 1/3 over.
I got it right.
Yeah, of course you got it right. You can do everything right.
I don't.
Ah, so you see...
Do we get splodgy?
Yeah, where I was just shaking that with my finger on it. The inside of like the top there, you see it's got a little bit of leaking? That's literally all that happened. It's really no big deal. So just keep your finger over the end and just shake it. Go at it.
Give it the beans.
Give it the beans.
Cool beans. I've decided I want a bright pink star. I'm going to try and experiment with this. Where's the glitter spray? So I'm going to try pumping some glitter onto it whilst the alcohol ink is wet. I'm going to see if
I'll try and stick the glitter
to the alcohol ink, because alcohol ink is quite sticky. If you've seen me do the foiling techniques with my alcohol ink, you'll know it's pretty sticky. So I'm giving it a go. Let's see if it works. I think I'm going to end up putting some adhesive on it now.
Oh, I know if blowing this actually dries it faster. Probably does.
Well, I think
Not
physics
sure I like
tells you.
it though.
I do.
Good. I like it. I knew that would work. You need a multi-layered craft surface.
But then they wouldn't be able to see us on film.
Oh, that's true. Right. So now just stick this down with this glue.
Star or no star?
Is this medium? Is
Yeah.
this glue?
Star or no star?
What star? I like it.
Okay. I'm going to do the star and then done. Straight.
Yeah, stuck the top on.
Right, so I'm just going to cut you a bit of twine for your top, and then we are all done.
Yep, I just stuck me bit on the top. I don't think I've held this up in a little while, so there you go. So I've got the sentiment there in like an aged woody sort of look. I've got the bit of string around the bottom with the other, what do you call this?
Tag. Metal tag.
This side.
Stop focusing.
There we go. With its aged distress look as well. We've got the detailing in the middle there in the red. We've got the stars coloured with
really
a lot of
pretty
shimmer in orange and red. More stars up in the top left, and then that reinforcement circle at the top in a kind of blue, which I was trying to go for sort of like the moon, so the glow from the moon. In this bit here is what's bringing out the blue in like the sea here with the fish kind of thing stamped on it, and the bird in the middle there, and the kind of red sky in the morning or the night, depending on if you want to call it an evening or a morning. I really like that.
You've done really well. I think you did an amazing job. You need to put your...
Well, what do I do with this bit?
I had it folded for you.
Oh.
Sorry. You just poke it through there. Like that.
Oh, and then just loop it back itself.
Yep.
And tie it up, I think. So it's gone really long.
That's alright.
I'll trim it back. Thank you.
And this is mine. Whee, there it is. You can see I used the film strip. I stuck my butterfly on, made some loops. It's got some nice kind of 3D details on the side there. I used the My arms aren't as long as Greg's. The 3D ombre multicolour pad I made. Stars. Lots of details on there. I really like mine. Do you like it?
Yeah.
It's different to yours. I like yours, it's brighter.
Trying to get the twist out of this string.
I like yours being brighter colours than mine. A bit dull.
Oh, I like yours and those browns and stuff going on. It's a very Tim Holtzy style. Oh, you tied yours. Is there a particular way you're supposed to tie them up?
Careful, because you've
I was
got a
doing
big
a
puddle.
refill. Oh, yeah. God, these chairs are creaky.
Just like that around your fingers. Yeah. You're done.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. We both did really well there.
Yeah, you can hold them both up.
Really cool. Okay, so which one are we going to show to everybody first?
We'll just show them both.
Okay, here we go. So there's...
Yeah.
Yep. I'm even going to come around there and then I can kind of talk. You know what? Let's just come over here. This is going to be much easier because then I can use...
Crash, bang, wallop.
Yeah, we'll make a bit of a mess. Okay, so there they are, the two together. This is Alex's on the left with some texture up here. It's really lovely. Bit of film strip, decorated butterfly and a sentiment down at the bottom there, in more like the brownie. And this is mine in the faded colours with the red on top. The kind of turquoisey, bluey, fishingy, sea life kind of thing going on at the bottom. I've accidentally come into a sort of fishing theme.
But with a bird in the middle.
With a bird in the middle of it.
But I like the way the bird's
The idea was the bird was supposed to be sat on the log that the sentiment is on. That was kind of the theory, and the log's kind of above the sea. And then we've got the stars up there. Very nice.
Thank you for joining us for a very long Hedgehog Hollow Happy Hour, but it was a bonus one too. Join us later in the week for the actual Hedgehog Hollow
really
Happy
fun.
Hour. We're going to have, as I say, a range a week, that schedule that I gave you earlier that I've kind of forgotten, but I'm sure Hannah wrote it down for us. I kind of remember it. Don't forget all your links are in the video description. Your exclusive Hedgehog Hollow coupon codes are there. You can also sign up for our newsletter on the Hedgehog Hollow, thehedgehoghollow.com. We send it out every Friday. It has lots of sales and things in there as well. Don't forget to join us. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell as well. Our videos are not normally this long. They're usually a lot shorter. I will also do some more videos on oxide sprays as well that will be much shorter. Just have some tips and techniques in them too. And also give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching us craft together. We'll see you again very soon. Happy stamping.
Hey, no, I went up too quick. You've got to do that last bit again so we wave at the same time.
Happy stamping.
Bye.
Bye.